I think that's the biggest difference between you thinking like international to the Premiership, Championship, League One. I think it's mindset. If you look at ability, it's probably only a couple of percent. It's doing it on that consistent basis, having that mindset where you are going to be the best player on the pitch every single day. I had a real close network of family and friends. This was my bubble. So anybody outside the bubble, their opinion was invalid to me. When you're in it, you don't appreciate, you don't celebrate the hype because you're preparing for the next game. If you want to fulfill, you've got to make sacrifices. And one of them sacrifices is having to be in a hotel Christmas night and New Year's Eve. So Bobby Robson, just his man management skills are incredible. He knows everybody's different. You've got so much respect for him. You're here. He then builds you up so you're here. You walk out the room feeling like $1 million. Thierry Henry, there's nothing he couldn't do. Quick, strong, good in the air, could go inside, could go outside. You kind of just hope he had an off day. That was the first time I looked back on my career and thought, you've actually done it right.
Yes, and we are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Coach Gerald Lami podcast. Today, I'm joined by another special guest. I'm joined by a former Premier League player, Titus Bramble. Titus, welcome on the show, bro. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much, bro. You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to see you the other day as well in hot Dubai. How's it going over there?
No, I mean, it's good. Dubai's always good. Came for a holiday for a couple of weeks and I'm still here.
Yeah. And I see you doing a bit of coaching out there. How's that been for you?
Yeah, no, I got my friend's got an academy out here. So as soon as I came, I called him and said, look, I'm here. Like, can I come and do some coaching? And yeah, DG Pro Sports Management Academy. So yeah, I'm doing that 4 times a week.
Wicked, man. Wicked. So it's keeping you busy. So having a holiday, but also a productive one.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to get out and coach. No matter where I am in the world, I like to get on the grass and do some coaching.
No, that's dope, man. That's dope. Just to give you like a little background, obviously I've explained to you before as well, but in terms of the podcast, so especially with the news that we've heard, obviously of the young boy Jeremy, who's tragically just taken his life away. So in terms of the podcast, I'm not trying to promote it in that way, but the whole purpose of the podcast was to kind of give youths an insight of different ways into the football game. Obviously, you've played at the highest level. You've seen a lot of things within the football industry. So within the podcast, we have a lot of people that's, like players, coaches, people in the media. So in terms of yourself, you've been in the game. Like I said, you've been at the highest level and you can give great insights to what it takes to get to that level, because there's a lot of sacrifices that you've made, to get to that level. Like you've played 13 seasons consistently in the Premier League. Now, not a lot of people can do that. Do you know what I mean? So in terms of that consistency, that's we always talk about it's a key part of life. Now, what is it, in your opinion, what does it take to be that consistent?
I mean, that's the $1 million question. I just believe in kind of the non-negotiable. So working hard every day is probably the biggest thing. Because there's so many kids now with ability. And I just think in outworking people and having that right mindset of, okay, well, you're here today, try and be the best player you can. And that was kind of the whole thing every day over my career. And obviously, thankfully, luckily enough, whatever you want to say, I managed to play at the top for a long time. And just with kind of nothing to do with the technical or tactical aspect, just the kind of working hard every day and being thankful for doing the job I was doing.
No, for sure. Because again, a lot of people take it for granted when, some players maybe play 3 or 4 seasons in the Premier League. Like, again, you've done it over a decade, more than a decade. Do you know what I mean? And so you must have been doing something right. What you was doing is what a lot of managers were looking for. Now, you spoke about mindset. When you hear the elite mindset, because the level that you played, you have to have an elite mindset again to do it on a consistent basis. Now, that word gets thrown around, on a regular basis. To you, what does elite mindset mean to you?
I mean, I'm not sure I had the elite mindset. I had a good mindset, but if you look at, obviously I didn't play for my country, and that would have been the pinnacle of my career. But so there's kind of my mindset, which was here, but then the elite is above. And that's where I probably fell short because my mindset wasn't as elite as the Steven Gerrards, the Rio Ferdinand, the Frank Lampard, the Sol Campbells. Their mindset was probably even better than what I had.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think? Why do you think that was? What was the gap between the, like you said, the good mindset and the elite mindset?
I'm not sure. Like, I really couldn't answer that, and I think that's the biggest difference between you thinking like international to the Premiership to League, Championship to League One. I think it's mindset, because if you look at ability, it's probably only a couple of percent, 3, 4, 5%, but it's doing it on that consistent basis, having that mindset where you are going to be the best player on the pitch every single day. And like I said, the top players have that mindset. Like, you look at Kevin De Bruyne, his mindset is incredible, and I'm sure every day and every game he's got that mindset where it is the elite.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Because yeah, again, I agree with you in terms of that the elite mindset. There's different levels to it. Do you know what I mean? But again, for someone like yourself that's been there, that's done it for years and years and years, I do believe there is an element of an elite mindset, because you didn't just do it for one season. You didn't do it for 2 or 3 seasons. You've done it over decades. Now, a lot of people would say, well, yeah, maybe you didn't go to the best of the best teams like the Man United or anything like that, but you played consistently at a higher level. Now, in terms of like your work rate, like you said, it's very, very important, to have that work rate and have that desire to get better and everything like that. Now, you worked under a lot of good managers. What would you say were the comparisons between each manager that said, you know what, Titus, I need you in my team? Like, if that makes sense, like what were they looking for within you to do every single week? And of course, you delivered it.
I mean, all managers are different. Obviously, you know that all managers are different, and Bobby was kind of, he was obviously the best man manager I've ever played under, and I'm sure we'll touch on it a bit more later in the show. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, I can't really put my finger on how my mindset was. It was just a case of, I had a dream as a kid, and my dream was to play football, and I was one of the small percentages of players that became a pro. So it was like, okay, well, you're here now, make sure, because there's thousands and millions of kids that want to play doing what you're doing. So make sure kids kind of behind you aren't taking your place. And that was kind of spurring me on. So I don't really know what my mindset was like and how it was. I just had a belief that I'm here now, stay here for as long as possible, don't let nobody come and take your place.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. And again, we spoke about I spoke about it briefly in terms of, like Jeremy from Man City. Just touch on it a little bit, because obviously we don't know the full situation. But like you said, in terms of, a lot of kids, want to become footballers, and when things don't happen, like even myself, I can put my hand up. I remember when I was 16 and I got released, and I was thinking, what am I going to do now? Do you know what I mean? Because all I ever did was just play football, and between the 16 and 18, I completely stopped playing football, and it was just like, I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I had a moment of like, what am I doing? Do you know what I mean? I started doing things that I shouldn't be doing. Now, hearing that story, and obviously the pressures, like you said, of making it to that level, do you feel clubs are doing enough, to support these young players coming through the system?
No, in a nutshell. I have been fortunate enough to work at an academy for years, and obviously been part of an academy. And as a whole, the EPPP and the Premier League, I don't think they do enough. They don't have enough duty of care after the players have been released. It's like they'll have a player in the system from 8 till say 21. So all this knows is this club, and it's like at 21 they get released, not good enough. Fine, that happens, and it's like they just kind of wash their hands of them. It's like they don't do enough to find them a club or make sure they're okay mentally. It's just like, okay, well, he's gone, let's focus on someone that is actually in the building. And I think some clubs might be better than others, but they're still nowhere near good enough to deal with players after they come out of the game. And you look at academies and how good they're supposed to be. I don't think they do enough to prepare them for life in general, and all they focus on is the football aspect. They touch a little bit on education, but I don't think they do enough of just life in general.
Yeah, nice. Definitely, I do agree with you. Do you feel like what would you change in terms of that? Because obviously a lot of people say, they'll do this and do that. What aspects would you change if you was working at a club, or if you was a technical director, terms of the well-being of players? Is there anything in particular that you would look at and kind of think about changing?
Well, I just think, like I said, on a whole, I mean, because only a small percentage of players make it
Yeah.
into football, so you've got to think like, okay, some of them are going to go out and be builders or going to be, I don't know, electricians or something like that. So you've got to prepare them for, look, football probably won't happen.
Mm.
So let's prepare for life, and let's give you the life skills you need to get through in life. If you make it as a footballer at a club, great. But if not, we've developed you as a person to succeed in life, whatever your career path takes you,
Yeah.
wherever your career path takes you.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. I think sometimes though, I feel like there's an element of, you know, that plan B sort of thing where people think about it is like, if I'm thinking about plan B, it's kind of steering me away from my plan A. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you got to find that balance, because at the end of the day, it's like I said, you've been at the top of the game and you know how ruthless it is to stay at the top of the game, and especially these days, because there's so much money in the game. It's a business. You know what I mean? And a lot of clubs are just cutthroat, right? You know, you're not good enough, you're gone. But I do agree with you, like a lot of these players obviously are not going to make it. So can they be, you know, our doctors of the world? Can they be our teachers of the world and things like that? But because of the lifestyle that it brings, I feel like a lot of these players, once it doesn't happen, and again, I've been in that boat where it didn't happen for me, and it really messes up with your mind. And you know, it's there's no, especially if you don't have that support mechanism around you, it can really turn you into a wrong direction. And you know, it's definitely a harsh game in my opinion, and obviously a lot of people will know about it. But we're talking about setbacks. Like obviously you've had your setbacks, and you know you've had a few criticism people, you know, along the way. How do you deal with that? Because you know you're on a constant limelight of the media, of fans and things like that. How did it affect you, and how did you deal with it, or did it affect you?
Yeah, obviously no one wants to hear people talk bad of themselves or and stuff like that. So obviously it affected me. You don't want to pick up a newspaper and see you getting stated in the newspaper for being crap at your job, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, it had a little effect on me. But then I was playing week in, week out. So hang on a minute. So the guy in the newspaper was giving me a 5 out of 10 on a Saturday,
Yeah.
but then the following week, so Bobby Robson was picking me in the team again. So it's like, hang on a minute. Well, this guy is I don't know, 20 stone or whatever. Never played a game of football in his life, so he could judge me. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's what that was what like my kind of like it took. So it was a Monday morning. I remember we played against Chelsea, and I played really well. And then on the Monday morning, I picked up a newspaper, and I got like a 5 or 4 or something. It's like, hey, that doesn't really make no sense to me. So obviously I was a little bit down because no one, like I said, no one likes to see themselves having bad press. So, and then Kieran Dyer, a good friend of mine, came and took the newspaper from me. He said, like, why are you reading these papers? He said, why are you letting someone like that like ruin your day? And then from that point, yeah, you're actually right. So I would read the paper, see whatever I got, and like I said, I mean, as long as the manager, and the coaching staff and the players got your back, it's like, who cares what everybody from the outside world kind of think? And that's how my mindset was from kind of like 21, and like I said, I mean, I got a lot of negative press and stuff like that. But like you said, I mean, I played 13 years at the top, so I must have been doing something right.
Without a doubt, bro. Without a doubt. And again, do you feel like, because I've heard a few footballers say that, you know, they try to stay away from the media and things like that, because again, you get a lot of media where they've never kicked the ball in their life. You know, they're just journalists, and they just want to, sometimes there's an agenda. There's definitely an agenda against certain players. You know, we've seen, you know, no matter what Paul Pogba does, there's always something, you know, that's Paul Pogba's doing this or Paul Pogba's doing that, where it's like, there's definitely an agenda. Now, what would you say was the most valuable lesson that you've learned, you know, during your journey?
Um, I don't know about most value, but I mean, like I said, I mean, my thing was, listen, like everyone, once you're in the football world, everyone is trying to shoot you down. So I had a real close network of family and friends that, listen, this was my bubble. So anybody outside the bubble, their opinion was invalid to me.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like I said, I mean, managers and coaches and players, they're on your outside bubble, but I got my friends and family, and the only opinion that counted was their opinion. So anybody else, I kind of had the mindset where, well, like I said, your opinion is invalid. So if I was doing something wrong and my friends and family told me that, then okay, well, I've got to take note. But anybody else didn't really affect me.
Yeah. No, that's a good lesson, to be fair, you know. And again, it comes down to having those good people around you, because you said, you know, when you was reading the newspaper and Kieran was like, "What are you doing? Stop reading that, because those opinions don't matter." So, but one thing that I'm a big fan, or big believer, should I say, is, you know, our childhood. You know, a lot of our childhood experiences that we've had may or may not come with us as we get older. Just want to take it back a little bit in terms of, you know, your upbringing. What was the Bramble household like when you grew up?
I mean, listen, for me, it was an amazing childhood. My mum and dad split up when I was 8, so at the time it was tough. But again, you just kind of, as a kid, you just kind of get on with things, right? So mum and dad split up. So I was raised by my mum. I had a brother and sister. So my mum was raising 3 children. So you know how it was back in the day. She would work 2-3 jobs so she could support the family. So as a kid, I mean, it was great but you don't know anything different. So you're just kind of getting on with it. And obviously, like I said, I mean, I was constantly playing football in the street with my friends. I'd go to the park and there'd be kids like 4, 5, 6 years older than me. And I just think, okay, well, I want to join in because I love football.
Yeah.
And I think kids nowadays don't have that, I don't know if you want to call it street mentality or whatever you want to call it, but like, you don't see kids playing football over the park anymore. And it's like, it's a shame. And because even when I was, like I said, I was probably 10 playing with 14-year-olds, it's like, okay, well, they're going to kick you because they don't want a little 10-year-old running around.
Yeah.
Just find a way. You have to find a way. And I mean, that's kind of a learning tool. So when they talk about kids nowadays, like you can't put a 12-year-old kid playing under 16 football, why not? Because as soon as he's 17, 16, 17, he's going to be playing against 30-year-old experienced pros. So hang on a minute, you're worried about a 4-year gap at 12 to 16, but you're not worried about 17 to 30 where they got more experience. So I don't quite get that. I mean, but again, sorry, reverting back to the childhood, it was great. And now I look back and think these kind of experiences kind of shape my mentality. You kind of, like I said, you've got a tough upbringing, if you want to call it that, with single parent homes. But again, you deal with it, and it makes you mentally tougher because, like I said, that's all you kind of know. And used to go to football on a Sunday, and I see all these families with kind of kids with 2-parent families. Yeah. Like, I could have that, but listen, it wasn't the case, and you deal with it, and you learn from it.
But bro, where does, because just speaking to you, you've got that mindset of, you know, if that doesn't happen, there's no problem. I can get on with it. It's like it doesn't, not that it doesn't matter, but you're finding a solution to try and get to that next level. Like where does that thinking come from? Like, you know, would you say those experiences that you just mentioned right now, where it's like, you know, maybe I don't have this, but I can always make this work. Do you know what I mean? So like, because a lot of people, like you said, especially in this day and age, where a lot of kids are just like, if they're not getting something, then, you know, they feel like they can't do anything whatsoever. Again, for yourself, like where would you say that mentality came from, where it's like, you know, if this is not working for me, I'm going to try something else?
Again, probably from my childhood again, but this was stuff I was unaware of. So if you think about stuff that happened in my childhood, it's like, okay, well, everyone has setbacks in life. That's life in general. And my mindset there, it was, yeah, kind of, okay, well, this happened. Let's find a way, or let's do something different. And yeah, that's been my kind of way all through my career. And even when I retired, I kind of wasn't planning to retire. I was 30, 32, 33, didn't want to retire, but it happens. It's the way it's the way of life. It's like, okay, well, I can kind of dwell on the past and think about, I wasn't ready to retire yet, blah 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 blah, or get on with it. But you can't change your past, but you can future. So okay, my football career is done. What's next for me? And that's why I got into coaching, because it's like, well, it's no point still trying to be a footballer. My body had enough, and that's why I retired. So it's like, that's gone. What next? And that's kind of something I had, but I don't know where the moment was where that was how my mindset was. I can't really pinpoint the exact moment.
And speaking about retirement as well, I feel like a lot of players don't really think about that. I mean, like, I think there's a balance, do you know what I mean, of being in the moment and not trying to think too much ahead, because you can't control, what's going to happen down the line. You can only, I guess, control what's happening in the now, in the present. Now, that moment where you said, you know what, I'm going to retire now. Talk to us about that feeling. Like, what was the process like? What did you have to do during that time? And like, and going forward, obviously you got into coaching now, but what that moment of to say, you know what, I'm hanging up my boots now. Talk us about that process, and what sort of things was you feeling during that time?
I mean, so I left Sunderland in 2013, got released. They didn't renew my contract, fine. And then, so I had the summer off as usual. My agent called me probably like start of July and said, look, West Ham wanting to go and train. So I'm like, okay, cool. I went to West Ham. I was training there for a couple of weeks, but living in a hotel. So it's kind of like, okay, if I'm going to live in a hotel and just train, I might as well go back to Ipswich where my family are. I've got a house there, and go and train at Ipswich because I know Nick McCarthy and Terry Connor, I know them well, and they were great. So I was kind of left West Ham, went back to Ipswich, and was training at Ipswich. So I was training there just as a kind of to keep fit, to kind of see like what next.
Yeah.
And Nick McCarthy was great. Like I said, he was trying to give me a contract like every other day basically. And I said, look, Nick, I just want to keep fit and weigh up my options. And he was like, yeah, fine. When you're ready to sign a contract, come and sign, which was great. And then I got an injury. I got an injury in would have been end of August. So I had to have a knee operation. Had a knee operation, and then obviously your body's older and you don't recover as quick. So in my head, I'm kind of thinking, yeah, this could be the end. And this was in like September time. I came back, probably in November. I came back, and I was training again at Ipswich doing some rehab, and I just wasn't feeling good. So in my head, I'm kind of thinking, you know what, I'm done. My body's not good. I'm not getting fit. I'm not recovering quick enough. I can't get fit.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking, right, yeah, I'm done here. So, but then friends and family were saying to me, look, you're too young to retire. Like, you shouldn't be retiring yet. So I thought, okay. So I had kind of Christmas and New Year to kind of, I just had a Christmas and New Year off just because I've not had a Christmas and New Year off for 15, 16 or whatever. So I kind of had a Christmas and New Year off with the family. It was great. And then I thought, right, January, I'll start back again to kind of get fit and resume my career. And then I've done some training, got kind of to a level of fitness, and we had a practice game at Portman Road. And at the time, David McGoldrick and Darren Murphy were flying for Ipswich, and I played the practice game, and they kind of ruined me. So I still talk to David McGoldrick now, and I kind of said to him, look, he ended my career because I would, because I mean, my mind could see what was going to happen, but my body couldn't get there. So I see like, this guy's possible here, and my body couldn't do it. So I'm like, you know what, I'm done. And so I kind of had a few months to prepare for retirement. And then I just kind of walked away. But because in my head, I was ready for retirement, I was done.
Okay.
It wasn't all of a sudden. It was probably 6-7 months that I kind of thought, yeah, I'm done here. So it wasn't just like wake up one morning, bang, retirement, you've got to retire. So I kind of had the process of, okay, you're about to come out of the game. So, and that was that. So kind of mid-January, I said, look, I'm done. So from the January till the June, I had holidays and kind of just enjoyed retirement, really. Just obviously football is like, you've got to wake up, you've got to be here at this time, you've got to eat this, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. So when I did actually retire, I was like, okay, I'm done. Just enjoy not having to do anything after 21 and be here at a certain time. Just enjoy it. And that was the first time I looked back on my career and thought, you've actually done all right. You've had a lot of time in the Premier League. So because when you're in it, you don't appreciate, you don't celebrate the highs, because you win a game, we go out, we celebrate, but then the next day it's like you're preparing for the next game. So you don't ever celebrate the real highs. And I mean, listen, we play Champions League football at Newcastle. I mean, one year we were competing with Man United for the league, and we end up falling short. But at the time, you don't really celebrate that. You don't see it as an achievement because you're in the moment. So when I did actually kind of walk away from football, I looked back and thought, you know what, you've actually done it right. For all the critics and F1 who stated you, you've actually, I mean, like I said, not many people play in the Premier League for that many years.
Not at all. Not at all, man. No, definitely. I think that's a beautiful thing that you said, where sometimes like when you step away and have that different angle or view, it's like, you know what, I've actually done more than all right. Do you know what I mean? You've actually lived every boy's dream, you know what I mean? And to do it on a consistent basis, playing against the best players in the world. And, you know, again, like you said, you played Champions League football, battling for the Premier League. So when you look back at it, it's like, you know what, that was a good career, man. That was a very good career. But speaking about again, the sacrifices that people don't really hear about is, like you said, the last time you probably had like a Christmas and a New Year's Day off is like when you were 16. Like, talk to us about those days where it's like you got to leave your family, you got to go on train on Christmas Day, you got to travel on Christmas Day maybe, or do you know what I mean, to get to your matches and things like that. What's that feeling like? Obviously, does it become like a job? Do you kind of lose the love of football when things like that are happening?
I'm not sure you lose a love of football. I mean, because it's your dream. So obviously, if you want to fulfill your, make sacrifices, and one of them sacrifices is having to be in a hotel Christmas night and New Year's Eve. So listen, football's a short career. Everyone knows that. So you think, right, I can make these sacrifices now. I can spend Christmas night in a hotel because, you know, like, you're going to retire and still be able to enjoy their moments. So and obviously, having done this from 16, 17 years old, you don't really know any different. That is every, you know, Christmas night I'm in a hotel, New Year's Eve I'm in a hotel. So you kind of think this is the norm for you. So you don't sacrifice because it's the norm. And when, like I said, people have holidays, like people get stressed at work, they have a holiday. Well, you can't do that at football because you've got to go. You know, you've got from start of July till the middle of May. You've got to kind of this is your work year.
Yeah.
Your holiday is then. So you kind of used to it. That's what you know. And like I said, from 17, this was what I wanted to do. So like I said, in order to fulfill your dream, you've got to make sacrifices, and that's one of the sacrifices that you kind of had to make.
No, powerful, man, powerful. And again, speaking about obviously after your retirement and things like that, I know you're doing some charity work at the moment. If you can just kind of explain a little bit more about the charity work that you're doing at the moment.
Yeah, the charity. So Simon Milton was working at Ipswich Town Academy. He was commercial director, and he approached me when I was at Newcastle in probably 2005 and said to me, "Look, would you sponsor the academy?" I'm like, "Yeah, great," because the academy is where I came through, and it's Ipswich Town is obviously close to my heart. So I was sponsoring academies since 2005 for maybe, I don't know, 15 years or something.
Wow.
And so then he left the academy to go set up a charity in Ghana.
Okay.
And doing charity work is something I've always wanted to do. So he called me one day and said, "Look, I'm going to Ghana in a couple of months. Like, would you like to come?" I'm like, "Yeah," because obviously he was aware that I want to do some charity work. So he was going to go for a week, and I thought, well, in the week there's not enough. You haven't got enough time to in a week to see the place and see the charity and see the project. So I stayed for a month. He left after a week, and I stayed there for 3 more weeks with the coaches and the project manager. So it's a education and sport charity. We look after 4,000 kids each week in Ghana and Togo, and we're looking to expand that. We work in 5 schools.
Okay.
So we did the preschool clubs. That's football and netball. So anybody's welcome to go to the preschool clubs that starts at like 6 a.m.
Brilliant.
From 8 till 10, we then run the PE sessions at the school. So different classes or different year groups will do the PE sessions. And then during the day, it's kind of, you have some downtime. And then after school, the good kids from the preschool clubs get invited to an after school like development center.
Okay.
Where they have training and extra games and stuff like that. So it's a really good project, and I really love doing it. So I travel there 6-7 times a year, and it's something that I can start doing for a long time because it's something that we're giving them kids something to look forward to and kind of a chance in life, because a lot of them kids have got nothing. They sleep rough and like that. So it's sometimes it's emotional, but it's something that as a charity we're doing well to support them, and we also do school refurbs as well. So the schools they're really poor schools, so we're doing a refurb program to make the schools, I mean, half decent, which is still not nowhere near the UK schools. So like I said, it's an amazing project. I love what I'm doing, and yeah, it's getting bigger and better.
That's amazing, man. We'll definitely put the link of the project on the description below, and people can check that out and make their donations, etc. Bro, before we get into the fire round questions, I just wanted to ask you, what's next for Titus? What's the next 5 to 10 years looking like?
Good question. Again, it's kind of weird because people often say to me, "Oh, like, what's your ambition?" It's like, well, I fulfilled my ambition. My footballer, became a footballer, so now I've got to kind of not reinvent myself. It's kind of like I like to have goals. I like to have goals. So, but I mean, I love coaching. I love being on the grass coaching kids. So obviously I want to stay in the game. At what level, I'm not sure. Do I want to get into men's football? I say no at the moment, but excuse me, if one of my friends got a job as a manager and said to me, "Titus, would you be my assistant?" then obviously I'd have to think about it. But
yeah,
I do like doing kids football just because I think you can have more of an impact on their lives and kind of not shape them. You can educate them more and give them the tools that they need for later on in life. Again, not just football, but life skills in general. Yeah. So if you're talking 5 to 10 years, I actually don't know, which is quite exciting. Like I said, I mean, I came to Dubai for a holiday. I'm now doing some coaching out here. So how long will I stay here? Who knows? Like I mean, like I said, if DG Pro got enough work for me, then why not stay out here for a year or whatever. So it's quite exciting that I'm not sure where I'm going to be, what I'm going to be doing, but I just know I want to be coaching. And again, at what level, I don't know. It just depends on the job. So for me, it's exciting. I kind of enjoy not having the structure now because, like I said, I mean, I had structure for years as a pro. So now you kind of do what you want when you want, and that kind of excites me.
No, powerful. I'll definitely say I'm similar sort of journey where it's like the unknown. You don't really know, but it's exciting at the same time because you know, there's always going to be something around the corner. As long as you're doing the work, there's always going to be something around the corner. But something that you touched on again, where it's like you fulfilled your dream. Now you're trying to find, that next passion, or do you know what I mean, or that next step for you. We've seen a lot of footballers like Bellerin, who's a big advocate of, footballers doing something outside of, football themselves. Would you advise players at the moment, to find another passion? Because when that time does come when they're going to retire, they have something to fall back on, because it's like a lot of players just focus on football solely. And then once everything is done, it's just like, they don't really know what they want to do next. So would you advise them to kind of look into something else while they're playing?
I'm not sure. I mean, my passion was football. So when you decide to retire, or if you don't make it in the career, there's lots of jobs within football. So you can still, like I said, I mean, you at 16, you realized you weren't going to become a professional, so you became a coach. Because football's your passion. So there's lots of ways where you can still be involved in the game of football if you love it, and you can have an impact on other kids' career and their lives. So I'm not sure. Football is my passion, so I always wanted to stay in football because that's my passion. So if that's your passion, why would you walk away from your passion just to find something else that probably isn't going to make you as happy as football because you think you need something else to fall back on? Well, then at a young age, do your coaching badges. Yeah, you can always be a coach or go down the media route, because there's always people will need commentators and pundits. So I think if it's your passion, keep with your passion and just find, or even if you go to college and go marketing or something, so you can be the marketing manager at a football club, you can stay in football with different jobs.
Perfect. And that's, again, man, that's the whole purpose of the podcast, is like just explaining to young people, there's different ways that you can still be part of the game, man. So, but Titus, just a quick one, fire round. I'm going to ask you just a few questions. You've you've answered this one a bit earlier on, but best manager you've played for and why?
So Bobby Robson, just his man management skills are incredible. He knows everybody's different, so he will pick you up one day and then ruin you the next day. But because of how he is as a manager, like it's you've got so much respect for him. He's the only manager that on a Thursday you'll kind of like he'll call you before training and say, "Look, Titus, can I have a word?" You're thinking, "Oh God, I'm gonna get dropped here." You go into his office, he tells you like basically you're not going to be in a team for this reason, and then he obviously you're being dropped, so you're here. He then builds you up so you're here. You walk out the room feeling like $1 million, and like he just has a knack of doing that for every single player. Like he's got something like he's like imagine your granddad. Like everyone loves granddads, and he's like granddad, and it's like he was just an incredible man, incredible person, and obviously I was so lucky to play for him and thankful for my time with him.
No, amazing. And when you signed for the club for Newcastle, was that one of the reasons why you did sign due to him?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite funny because obviously tapping up in football is a thing nowadays, and kind of, he tapped me up as a kid, so it's quite funny. I mean, I was at Ipswich at the time, and I'd speak to him every other Saturday, and he would say to me, "Look, I want you at Newcastle," and so obviously he's got a connection with Ipswich Town, and my mum was at Ipswich Town in a day, and so she'd go and watch Bobby Robson play and his teams play. So once he came calling, it was like, this is absolutely no brain. This is a man like Bob Robson, who's such a god in the game. He wants to sign you. Like, where do I sign?
No, for sure, man. And that team that you guys had as well, like you said, in the Champions League, what was that atmosphere like around Newcastle at that time? You know, with the players that you guys had and playing in the Champions League.
I mean, it was incredible. Champions League nights at St James Park was phenomenal. The atmosphere was incredible, and I know it's a bit cliche, but when you hear the Champions League music, it actually makes your head when your neck stand up. It's phenomenal, and like I mean, like I said, as a kid, obviously my dream was to be a footballer. You don't think about international or Champions League. You just think I want to be a footballer, and then once you start playing football, you think, imagine playing Champions League football, and the music is emotional and it's incredible. It's such a feeling, and so the city at the time we were doing well, we were flying, and it was just a great atmosphere because, I mean, you look at the team we had. Listen, you talk about Shearer and Speeds, you had Dyer, Bellamy, Solano. They were all top players. I mean, probably Alan was the only world class player we had. If you're talking about like world class, he was the only one. I mean, Speedo was a great player. Kieran, Bellamy, Solano were great players, but were they world class? Probably not. But we had a manager who got the best out of the players we had, and that's why I mean we were in the Champions League or finishing in them spots because he got every player playing to their full potential.
No, for sure, man, for sure. Good to see that Newcastle's back up and running again, man. They definitely need to be a top 10, top 6 club for sure. Best player you've played with?
Best player I've played with. If you're talking about ability, Patrick Kluivert, he was phenomenal. Yeah, he was phenomenal. I mean, he came to us around 27, 28, where he should have been in his prime. But he was winning Champions Leagues at 17 years old. So he had all the trophies in the world. He had all the money in the world. So he came to Newcastle with not much motivation. Kind of just a case of he just wants to play in the Premier League. So he came to Newcastle. So you could see how good a player he was, but just wish he had that hunger and that fire in his belly that obviously made him what he was at Barcelona and Ajax. But I mean, he was a phenomenal player, and some of the things he did in training was like, wow.
And you obviously was playing against him in training as well. What was that like?
Pardon? Sorry.
You played against him in training as well. Obviously, him being a striker and you being a defender as well. What was that like playing against him?
Yeah, it was a proper schooling. Like, I mean, 22, 23, and it's like he was actually schooling me. It's like he was just playing games with me. He was that good.
No, that's a tough one to pick though. Toughest player you've come up against?
Thierry Henry. There's nothing he couldn't do. He was quick, strong, good in the air, could go inside, could go outside. So yeah, you kind of just hope he had an off day. Even if he had an off day, it was still outrageous. So yeah, he was. You always knew like you're gonna be in with a tough time with him. It's like nothing he couldn't do, and even if he had a bad day, he'll still do moments where it ends up in the back of the net because he was that good. So he was obviously everyone knows how good this player was. So to play against was sometimes impossible.
What's the night before that you're playing against Henry? Like are you sleeping peacefully or are you tossing and turning?
Yeah, you have nightmares. You wake up every hour having nightmares thinking, oh God, what's he gonna do tomorrow? It was, I mean, the Arsenal team, the Invincibles, where they got Ashley Cole back, Perez left midfield, and Henry up front. So down left hand side, it was just like it's trouble.
Yeah.
So you just knew that, like, you're going to be in for a tough time against the Arsenal team.
Yeah, no, for sure. Last two questions for you, Titus. Favorite moment in football?
So playing for Ipswich Town in the Premier League, that was a special moment just because it's playing for my boyhood club in the best league in the world. So that was obviously special. Again, it's cliche, but I was living the dream every Saturday. Playing for the club you love in the Premier League that is a dream right there. Also playing Champions League football for Newcastle, that was again special moments. Like I said to you before, the Champions League music is just incredible, and the atmosphere and playing against the best players around the world was incredible. And playing for England under 21s, that was still a good achievement. Like I said, I didn't quite get to play for seniors because, again, I said about the mindset maybe. But you put on the free lines on your jersey, it's just a proud feeling of you're one of the best 25 people in your country at that age, and it's a good feeling.
Yeah. No, powerful, man. Powerful. Last one. Best lesson you've learned in the last 6 months?
Ooh. Now that has got me thinking.
So we do right there, Titus.
Best lesson I've learned the past 6 months.
We've been in quarantine for the past couple of months.
Yeah. It's not really a lesson because I've always known it. But it's good to talk. Like, some people have got problems. It's good to get off your chest. Because listen, like I said, it's everyone's got their problems. Everyone's got problems, and some you can deal with yourself, and some you need help dealing with. And that's so. I kind of didn't learn this during quarantine. It's just, I think a lot of other people have learned that it's okay to talk. It's okay to have problems. Like, no one's invincible. So it doesn't make you a weak person. And again, we touched on mental health, and it's a lot of people are kind of experiencing this because it's really tough at the moment. So I think it's, like I said, it's good to talk, and I'm glad that people are now realizing that. And like I said, I had a problem in probably 2011, and I was a bit scared to talk about it.
Okay.
It was a little bit of depression. Like I said, I can talk about it now, but at the time I was scared to talk about it. I mentioned it to the physio and the club doctor, and they kind of laughed it off, and it's like, okay, well, cool. I can't be depressed because they're laughing off, and knowing what I know now, I would talk more about it because it was a moment in life where I didn't know how to deal with it, and obviously got through it. But yeah, it's probably the biggest thing is good to talk, and I'm glad people are now realizing that.
No, it's powerful, man. Thanks for sharing that as well, bro. Obviously, we all go through our moments and whatnot. Just I don't know if you want to touch on it a little bit more, but in terms of do you think it was more so, again, that mindset of like, if these things are not happening for me, I'm just going to get on anyway? Do you feel like it was a build up a lot of a lot of things like growing up, and then kind of you stored it away? Because again, as men, it's like we don't really touch on emotions. We kind of, whatever happens, is kind of, we lock it, we put it in the back of us, and it's just like, we're kind of like dragging it along with us. Do you feel like it was a bit of that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, I mean, there was probably, like I said, there was probably a build up of lots of things going on in my mind, and playing football, and yeah, it was just like, I remember going up from training one day and thinking, I feel crap. I just sat on the sofa, TV wasn't on, didn't eat anything for maybe, I don't know, it seemed like it was an eternity. It was probably like maybe 3 or 4 hours, and I just felt rubbish in myself, and I don't know what caused it. And like I said, the next day I went to training, said to the doctor and the physio, look, I said, I think I'm depressed. And like I said, they kind of laughed it off at the time because, again, listen, nothing against them, because like they're good people. But at the time, depression in football wasn't a big thing. So I'm thinking, like, if are kind of not doing anything about this, okay, I can't be depressed, because if I was, they would act on it. So I don't actually know how I got out of it. I don't know how I kind of came around. It's kind of like I said, maybe like we said before, it's like, okay, well, you're not depressed, get on with it, and because, yeah, I don't know, it's a weird, because I just kind of, I kind of just got out of it. I don't know what I was doing any different to kind of get out of it, but I didn't have any support. It's just one of them things that I got through it, and I can't really tell you how long it lasted for, but yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about it.
Do you feel like you've fully come over it, or do you feel like there's still elements of it that you need to kind of speak about it to someone, or anything like that?
No, I'm good. Like I said, I mean, it was just a moment. I said,
Yeah.
I mean, it lasted a month, could last 6 months. I wasn't sure. I was just,
Okay.
it was just one time I went home from training, and I just felt crap, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm depressed. But yeah, no, like I said, no, it was just a moment. I said, obviously everyone has moments, down moments, because that's what life does to you sometimes. I had a little moment during lockdown where I wasn't coaching and I couldn't travel to Africa to do the charity stuff. So it's like, not got no purpose. What's my purpose in life? I kind of had a moment, but again, it was just a phase, because I'm like, well, you can't travel because we can't fly. We're on lockdown, so it's not nothing to do with you. It's out of control. And I wasn't coaching because I decided to kind of walk away from Ipswich because of stuff I didn't agree with at the time. So, and it was a moment, and I kind of got out of it, because it's like, well, you're going to coach again, and you're going to go to Africa again. So your purpose is still good. So, it was fine. Like I said, I mean, it was a moment during lockdown. I'm sure, like I said, everyone's probably had moments during lockdown where they're not feeling good, and mine was probably 10 minutes, and it's like, okay, well, that was it.
And it's not a bad place where you're coaching right now, mate. Do you know what I mean? So you definitely overcome it.
Yeah. Looking out the window and seeing the sea and seeing the sun, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I saw that view earlier on, mate. It's not a bad view to wake up to, so yeah. But yeah, man, Titus, honestly, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on and again, opening up and sharing your experience and then, giving an insight of what you've gone through and the football industry, and whoever's listening as well. I'm sure you found it beneficial. So remember, people, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And again, Titus, we'll put your social media in the description below as well. So if anyone wants to reach out to Titus, you can do. Titus, again, thank you, bro. Thank you very much for your time. I wish you the best of luck and enjoy sunny Dubai.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you soon.
Definitely, mate. Cheers, bro. Cheers.